After years of quiet solitude, Jennifer Aniston stepped into the warm glow of a New York summer evening, and the cameras caught a smile that felt different. It wasn't the rehearsed red carpet grin we've seen countless times. This was softer, warmer, like a chapter long overdue finally being written. On August 4th, she emerged from her hotel in a simple, black, strappy dress, ballet flats catching the fading light, her hair falling effortlessly, the image of casual elegance. At her side, though trying to slip away unnoticed, was Jim Curtis. They left through separate doors, perhaps hoping to dodge the flash of paparazzi, but moments later they slid into the same car. Hours later, she reappeared in a crisp white dress, walking beside Jim toward a quiet West Village dinner with close friends Jason Bateman and Amanda Anker. The dinner lasted 3 hours, but the real story was the unspoken ease between them, the kind you can't fake. For Jennifer, this is more than just another headline. It's her first public romance in 7 years since her divorce from Justin Theroux. A woman who has weathered the storms of Hollywood, heartbreak, and endless speculation now seems to have found a rare kind of peace. But who is Jim Curtis? And how did their friendship turn into the kind of closeness that has Jennifer holding hands on a yacht in Mallorca and leaning into him with a smile the world hasn't seen in years? Before Jim Curtis, Jennifer Aniston's love life was a saga written in the bold type of Hollywood headlines. In the late 1990s, she was half of America's golden couple, married to Brad Pitt, the movie star who seemed like the perfect match for the girl next door from Friends. But that fairy tale cracked in 2005, and the breakup became one of the most dissected stories in celebrity history. Years later, Jennifer found love again with actor and screenwriter Justin Theroux. Their relationship was quieter, more private, at least at first. They married in 2015 in a small, intimate ceremony, a hopeful sign that she had finally found lasting happiness. But in 2018, they announced their separation. The statement was calm and amicable, but for Jennifer, it marked the beginning of something she hadn't experienced in decades: true, prolonged singlehood. For the next 7 years, she poured herself into work. From acclaimed performances in the morning show to producing projects behind the scenes, she kept her professional life thriving. Publicly, she laughed off dating rumors. Privately, she leaned on close friends, traveled, and focused on self-care. The tabloids often painted her as unlucky in love, but Jennifer seemed unbothered. She spoke about self-acceptance, about not needing a partner to feel complete. And yet, in the quiet spaces between work and friends, perhaps there was still room for something, or someone, to surprise her. That surprise, it seems, arrived in the form of a man she already knew. Jim Curtis is not the kind of man you expect to find in the Hollywood dating pool. He's not an actor, not a musician, not a man chased by red carpets and flashing cameras. Instead, Jim built his life in the quiet, often unseen work of helping others heal. A hypnotherapist and psychotherapist by profession, he has spent years guiding clients through fears, anxieties, and deeply rooted struggles, the kind that can keep a person from living fully. Jennifer first crossed paths with Jim through mutual friends, long before there was any hint of romance. In fact, their earliest connection was professional. She had openly spoken about her fear of flying, and Jim's methods, detailed in his books and workshops, offered her a way to confront it. On Instagram, she once recommended his work to her millions of followers, calling it transformative. He's a man of quiet confidence, known more for listening than speaking, for observing before acting. Friends describe him as grounded, kind, and deeply empathetic, traits that stand out in a city where ambition often drowns out authenticity. What makes their pairing so compelling isn't just the contrast between their worlds, but the bridge they've built between them. For Jennifer, who has navigated decades of public scrutiny, Jim's grounded presence seems to offer a refuge. For Jim, Jennifer's warmth and openness have drawn him into a spotlight he never sought. From shared laughter to long, unhurried conversations, their connection began as a steady flame, one that would soon grow brighter in unexpected ways. For years, Jennifer and Jim moved in the same social circles without crossing that invisible line between friendship and something more. They'd meet at gatherings, exchange easy conversation, share a laugh. The kind of connection that feels comfortable, not charged. It was safe. Familiar? But somewhere, in the quiet spaces between those encounters, something shifted. Friends began to notice subtle changes. The way their conversations lingered longer, the way they seemed more attuned to each other's presence. Jim's gentle humor met Jennifer's quick wit, and what was once casual banter began to feel personal. It wasn't a whirlwind romance. There were no sudden declarations or tabloid-catching dates. Instead, their bond deepened in private moments, an afternoon coffee that turned into a 3-hour conversation, a shared walk where neither wanted to say goodbye. Trust came first, intimacy followed. By the time they stepped onto a yacht together in Mallorca this summer, the transition from friends to lovers was complete. The images told their own story, Jennifer leaning into Jim's arms, his hand resting protectively at her back, the two of them laughing under the sun. It was affection without performance, closeness without the staged poses of celebrity romance. In a world where relationships often start with a headline, theirs began with something rarer, a foundation of trust and genuine companionship. And when they finally appeared together in New York, it wasn't just a new couple stepping out. It was the public debut of a love that had been quietly, patiently growing. On the evening of August 4th, New York's West Village played host to a quiet but telling moment in Jennifer and Jim's story. It wasn't a red carpet premiere or a lavish Hollywood party. It was something far more intimate. Dinner with two of Jennifer's closest friends, actor Jason Bateman and his wife, Amanda Anker. Jennifer arrived in a crisp white dress, her hair loose and effortless, walking alongside Jim as they entered the restaurant. Paparazzi caught them mid-laughter, their shoulders leaning ever so slightly toward each other, a natural closeness that said more than any posed photograph could. For 3 hours they remained tucked away inside, away from cameras, sharing food, conversation, and the kind of easy camaraderie that only comes when everyone at the table is at ease. To outsiders, it may have looked like just another night out, but for Jennifer, this was significant. Jason Bateman has long been one of her most trusted friends, someone who's seen her through both career highs and personal lows. Bringing Jim into that inner circle wasn't just about a meal. It was a quiet introduction into the closest parts of her life. When they emerged later that night, the smiles lingered. They walked back to their hotel side by side, the city lights casting a warm glow over them. In the measured pace of their steps and the comfort in their silence, there was a message. This wasn't a fleeting romance. This was a relationship ready to be seen. Jennifer Aniston has lived much of her romantic life under the unrelenting spotlight of Hollywood. Past relationships were dissected in magazines, picked apart by gossip columns, and endlessly speculated about online. Love, for her, was often accompanied by noise, the hum of public opinion, the clatter of camera shutters, the whisper of rumors. But with Jim Curtis, the script feels different. There are no staged photo ops, no orchestrated leaks to the press. Their most tender moments, from holding hands on a yacht in Mallorca to slipping quietly into a neighborhood restaurant, seem almost accidental in their exposure, caught only when the outside world happens to glimpse them. It's not that they're hiding, it's that they're simply living. There's a quiet confidence in the way Jennifer walks beside Jim, unhurried, unbothered, as if the approval of strangers is no longer a factor in her happiness. For a woman who's spent decades answering to the demands of fame, that kind of freedom is rare. Friends say Jim has brought a calming presence into her life, grounding her in ways she didn't know she needed. He's not competing with her fame, nor is he chasing it. Instead, he exists in his own steady orbit. And Jennifer has found comfort in that stability. Perhaps this is why the world is so fascinated. It's not just that Jennifer Aniston is in love again, it's that she's in a love story that feels entirely her own, untouched by the chaos that once defined her romances. For Jennifer Aniston, this new chapter isn't just about romance, it's about the quiet rebalancing of her life. After years of pouring her energy into her career, friendships and personal growth, Jim Curtis's presence has added something she wasn't necessarily seeking but has welcomed fully: companionship without complication. Friends describe her as more relaxed, her laughter easier, her schedule more open to moments that aren't planned months in advance. It's a subtle shift, but a meaningful one. When she steps out with Jim, there's no sense of performance, only the comfort of two people enjoying each other's company. Professionally, Jennifer is still at the top of her game. Her work on the morning show continues to earn critical acclaim, and new projects are on the horizon. But now there's balance. Those long stretches of downtime between shoots are no longer filled solely with solo trips or quiet evenings with friends. There's someone to share them with. Jim's world is far removed from Hollywood's relentless pace, and that might be the secret ingredient. In him, Jennifer has found a partner who doesn't just fit into her life, but gently expands it, adding depth without drama, stability without stifling her independence. Looking ahead, this relationship could mark the start of a decade defined not by who she's with, but by how she feels with them: grounded, secure, and genuinely happy. And in Hollywood, that may be the rarest kind of love story of all. As Jennifer Aniston and Jim Curtis stepped back into their New York hotel that night, the city lights framed them in a soft golden haze. There was no entourage, no spectacle, just two people walking side by side, their steps in quiet sync. For Jennifer, it wasn't a grand Hollywood comeback or a calculated PR move. It was something far simpler and far more powerful, a moment of real life lived in the open. Over the years, she has been many things to many people: America's sweetheart, the rom-com queen, the woman everyone thought they knew. But in these recent glimpses, we see something new. Not the character on screen, not the celebrity on the red carpet, but the woman behind it all, content, at ease, and willing to let someone in again. Perhaps that's why this story resonates so deeply, because no matter how different our lives may be from Jennifer's, we all understand what it means to take another chance, to trust again, to find joy where we least expect it. And maybe after years of watching her navigate the highs and lows of love in public, fans aren't just happy to see her with someone new, they're happy to see her happy. So what do you think about Jennifer's first public romance in 7 years? Could this be the love story that finally lasts? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this journey through her new chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more untold stories from Hollywood's brightest stars.